today's topic.
So here's what I want to do today.
Let's just run through real quick.
We're going to go through my phone, and we're going to read suggestions for podcast topics.
Oh, yeah.
From our loyal listeners. I have a couple highlighted here, and I brought some extra beers that'll really help liven up our chat.
This is the sound of my people. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah. That's what it does when you open it up.
I like you.
This is the Big Little Thing. That's my nickname.
I've never had this before. Sierra Nevada Big Little Thing.
Well, let's get your first impression on video right now.
It's an IPA, and it's cold, so I'll drink it. I don't even care if it... Like, I'm not huge on IPAs. It's not super hoppy. I don't love ones that are, like, super bitter and hoppy. Yeah. Because I like to drink beer. I don't like to sip it. I think the more bitter it is, the more I sip it.
Mm-hmm. The beer I like is brown.
It doesn't have carbonation.
Correct. It's on the rocks.
Yeah. It's like 107 proof.
Just making sure this is recording also. I have had some issues hitting the record button around here.
Well, it's a good thing you're doing it because you and I, if I had to do it.
You'd break it.
Oh, wait. I'd break it, yeah. But wait until you see the video of my old man killing that gobbler.
Oh, I can't wait. You brought it, right?
Yeah, it's on the camera. I didn't even pull the SD card out. But you can see I'm so excited. Shocker, I drop the camera, right?
Did you run after the bird again?
No, but we jumped up and I instantly hit the record button, turned everything off. And then we're sitting there talking. But I mean, you can see our reaction.
You thought you actually missed the shot because you had hit record and you forgot.
We walked over to the bird and I'm talking to Dad and I look at the camera. I'm like, it says standby. It's not on record. I'm like, Dad, I think I didn't get the shot. And he's like, I don't care. It's like, I don't care. We're killing birds here. We're not making TV. He did not care.
No, Dad, we are. We're making TV.
Yes, we are.
We're absolutely on the TV.
It was awesome. That was a hell of a lot of fun, though. That's the first bird I've ever killed. Called in for him, and we've killed. Actually, it's the first. I can't remember another time that I've actually called for him. It may have been the first time that I actually sat down. I called. He was shooter.
I mean, that's super cool. That
it was fun.
Not only did you call a bird in for your dad, but your dad actually shot and killed him.
He smashed it. Yeah,
smoked him.
Yeah, beautiful bird too. Beautiful bird. Over 20 pounds. It was awesome. So,
as opposed to me, who took my shotgun for a 7.5 mile walk around some incredibly steep terrain.
Dude, I saw I think it was your watch or something. It's saying how many steps.
Yeah.
It was like 12,000 steps that one day. I'm like, you don't take 12,000 steps in a year.
22,000 steps, I believe. Let's pull this up just for recognition. It was 7.5 miles I walked.
Like over a 4-day period or 1 day?
Over 1 day.
1 day. All
yes.
Right. Who set this up? Because that sounds like a property that just was devoid of turkeys.
It was 1,500 acres.
It sounds like an awesome
place. It was gorgeous. It was incredibly steep terrain to the point where
steeper than Ohio?
Yeah.
Really?
On some spots, I had to walk like sideways down the hill. I'm trying to pull up my activity counter, which really shouldn't be hard to find.
It's like zero activity, and then it just spikes for 1 day.
Yeah. So, no lie. Let's see. That was Friday. When was that? That was Wednesday that I did that.
Yeah, you went down Tuesday.
Okay. Look at this data. This is unreal. 5 hours, 22 minutes, 51 seconds of walking. 7.24 miles. And this is verified like on my watch.
Yeah,
this isn't like, my phone was on my elbow.
That sounds like I went elk hunting.
Yeah, this was an elk hunt, dude. 2,411 calories. I ate all of Waffle House this night. And even better, let's see. At a couple points, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. So you can look at like the data that these watches keep is so cool.
Oh, it's awesome. I love when it shows your stress level and it says, you might want to take a break today, which I don't get very many.
What do you think my watch was telling me?
It was like
mofo,
slow down.
Lay down.
It was like
heart attack is imminent. Imminent. Look at the elevation graph.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was only like, I don't know, 800 feet of vertical gain.
Yeah, but you did it
up, down,
you did
up,
it
down,
15
up, down.
times.
Yeah, it was awful. At one point, my maximum heart rate,
Oh, God.
187 beats per minute.
That's maxing out, buddy.
Dude, there were no at one point. So I flipped my watch over to like where it looks like a rev limiter.
Oh, yeah. When it goes up into your maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out that at 187 beats per minute, it just says no zone. Like the arrow was past the red. It was like
it was pegged.
We don't. Yeah.
Shout out Nick Yates.
Shout out Nick Yates. It was. It's great because he listens to these. He has no idea that's an inside joke. That's what you get for putting.
Never mind.
Don't clean out your chimney. So yeah, 187 beats per minute. Like multiple times, my watch was like, "Hey,
Screaming.
Are you okay?" Vum, 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 vum,
Now,
vum.
does your watch automatically dial 911?
It should have. Thank God it doesn't. So oh my God, I didn't even realize I had this. For 16 minutes, my heart rate was above 165 beats per minute.
Was that when you got out of the truck and walked across the field? Is that what actually did it?
Probably. For an hour and 24 minutes, it was under 110 beats per minute. That must have been when I was like laying down under a tree thinking I was going to die. Call a helicopter. Come back for me tomorrow.
What would you have done if you had to like drag a deer more than 100 yards?
Dude, on
or
this,
carry a turkey out?
I'd be done.
Totally cooked.
You know what's sad is you carry a turkey and you're like, oh my God, this thing's so heavy. It's 20 pounds.
I know.
I could lose 2 of them.
I could lose at least
It'd
2
be
of them.
fine.
Oh, I'd probably look nice and svelte.
I'd look hot.
I'd have an hourglass figure.
I'd still have my pear bottom.
If I
Your mom goes to college.
If I lost
How long do those chat rooms last for? Oh, geez, sometimes 3 or 4 hours.
My favorite though is when Fonda gets off the bus, and then she gives him like the big chain, like the Mr. T starter kit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is
Flav.
one of my favorite movies of all time.
I met Flavor Flav.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Like with the big clock that he wore?
Yes, and he was wearing it. This was like 2000. This was when Flavor of Love had like just come on the air, where he was like strippers were fighting over Flavor of Flav for his endless crack rock supply. That guy must have like crack mountain in his basement.
He like goes down and he just gets a scoop of it and puts it in his pocket. He's like, "Come on, girls!"
Puts it in his big clock. He probably has like a big mirror
Oh
on the
my
back of it.
Opens the face of the clock.
It's crack pipes. So we were like driving through New Jersey. This was right when I like I think I was in college.
Oh yeah, young and dumb.
And we were at a liquor store. Shocker! I met Flavor Flav in New Jersey, and this like Mercedes SL convertible that was like white, like it looked like a drug dealer's car. Avi whips up, and he got out, and it's like 9:00 at night. He's got the mirrored sunglasses on. He's got his big chain. So we're like, yeah, Flavor.
Did he talk to you?
Yeah, he said, "What's up?" We took a picture with like an old flip phone. I was like, "Oh, hold on, let me."
Yeah,
get
it's all
one."
grainy and like looks like there's a cloud in front of the lens.
I'll show that to my children.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you will. Look how proud Daddy is.
Look at Daddy.
This is the greatest thing that ever happened in my life.
You know what he bought?
Courvoisier.
Hennessy. Yeah.
Well, that's close enough.
Yeah. Sir, under hobbies, you wrote debit. Yeah, that's the butt.
Yeah, that's the butt.
I also like tennis.
That I haven't seen that movie in freaking decades.
Still a classic.
The Ladies Man.
Leon Phelps. Can I buy you a 5th sandwich?
I need to pull that back out. Should I show it to my kids? Probably not.
100% should. I'm just excited that our 4 listeners are still with us right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to delete.
All right, we're gonna go through these suggestions. Ready? Arrow building and setup. I'm gonna put that on a list. That's a good one to talk about. So I think
let's go right to one that's fun. Also,
all right,
because there's someone there that this can be a scorched earth podcast.
This is the second one.
Yeah.
Does a high alcohol level in your bloodstream make your scent lighter and therefore rise? Yes. However, when my alcohol content is very high, I like to hunt from the ground.
Without a weapon.
Yeah.
Passed out under the bushes in my front yard.
Did I ever tell you that story?
I was literally making something up.
Yeah. So our good buddy, Nick Yates.
Mm-hmm. Shout out.
Shout out. The old Pegomatic.
Yeah, he's the Pegasus.
So Nick got divorced in like 2011. Married and divorced in the same year. And so
those Vegas trips are a
Vegas.
fucking bitch.
Yeah. So anyways, Nick was all sad after his divorce.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have been, because it was a really good thing.
It's a good thing that, yeah, you were saying that was the best thing that ever happened in his life was the departure.
That earmuffs whore that you've been dating. So yeah, he got divorced. He's all bummed out. So
you're deciding you want to go help him out.
Yeah, I'm his Sherpa.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take
him
with
to
me
the top
on
of the mountain.
This magical journey to the top of the mountain.
Okay.
So we go. I convinced Nick to go to Kentucky on a rut hunting rifle trip.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Let's smash.
So we drive to Kentucky. We tried to drive to Kentucky. We ended up halfway there in Morgantown, spending the night, which was in a late departure the next morning.
And Morgantown was probably out of the way. You're like, oh, Morgantown sounds
we
fun
should
tonight.
get a hotel here. I heard they have
Heard
pizza.
they party.
So we go.
Isn't there a college there? Maybe.
There's a group of people that have a drinking problem. They might attend class once in a while. Oh, hilltoppers.
Yep.
So anyways, we get to Kentucky, and we're hunting with my attorney. This is like a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas type scenario, right? Because my attorney is my former attorney was like off the rails wild.
He's probably current attorney, but you're saying former to protect him.
Yeah, he was. The guy was insanely wild.
Uh-huh.
We can get into that some other time. So he's got this connection in Kentucky. So we go to the farm.
And is this a hunting connection or something else?
Yeah. We were actually just muling meth back. So we go to this farm in Kentucky and
poop it out, Nick.
Come on, it's been 3 hours. You ate 37 condoms. So we're in Kentucky, and the first day we're there, it's a dry county that we're hunting in. And so I stopped
No wonder no hunters are there.
I stopped at Walmart and I bought like 8 or 9 handles of wood fluff. They were like $25. I'm like,
Was it like Pennsylvania where it's like 20 proof?
No, this
okay.
This was like, I don't know why. It was like $25 for a bottle of Woodford.
Okie dokie.
So I bought like $500.
Like, well, this tide us over until tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll take this home with me. This is better than a deer. So I gave a bottle to the landowner, who also happened to be the sheriff for that county.
Okay.
He was letting us hunt on his property. He thought I gave him my firstborn son. It was such a nice gesture. The guy opens up everything. He said, come back whenever you want, blah, blah, blah. Day 2, we're hunting. We come down for lunch. We're chilling on our truck in the middle of this pasture, and it's like a big hill with, hardwoods. He comes riding over in his Ranger, and he's like, hey, boys, I brought you a present. And he reaches in the back of the Ranger and pulls out a pint of moonshine with evidence stickers on it. This guy...
Whoa.
He's the sheriff. He stole this moonshine out of the effing evidence locker. Right? So I'm like, well, that's pretty cool.
Are you sure this isn't kerosene, sir?
Yeah. So I was like, well, he's like, you boys have this. You have a nice day. I'm like, great. So we put it on the pickup truck tailgate.
And it's thermite melting through the tailgate.
Yeah, I mean, it's like melting through the glass, right? We're like eating our sandwich, and we kind of like quietly look around while we're all like halfway through our sandwiches. I'm like, you guys want to nip?
Take a sip?
You want to nip? So that was like 12 o'clock. By 3 o'clock, allegedly, I'm chasing cows around
Oh, boy.
the pasture. I don't remember any of this. I do remember driving through these fields, listening to Foggy Mountain Breakdown on repeat. The moonshine was gone.
Did anyone else drink it?
Probably. Yeah, like, hey, why? Taylor's like, you just pull the string and let him go. So I wake up and I am just like this in a chair at the top of the mountain overlooking a power line with my rifle across my lap.
Oh, good idea.
And it's pouring rain.
And that's when you woke up.
Raining on my face. Yeah. I've never been sicker in my life.
It was
awful.
Thank God they took the bolt out of my gun.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no ammo. My ammo was in my keister. But yeah. So that.
With the meth.
Yeah. Yeah. It was to stop the meth from coming out.
Hey, look, it has an evidence sticker.
There's a difference between boofing and shelving, okay? But yeah, dude, I don't know how we went. Well, I know how we went down that path, and somebody handed us a bottle of moonshine.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a. What are you gonna do? Turn it down? It's like being.
It'd be rude.
It'd be so rude if you didn't. Now he was probably expecting everyone take a few sips and then maybe. Well, no, you can't take it home. You can't because then you're committing like probably felonies or something, taking it across.
Well, also
state lines.
I wanted to help him out. It's got evidence sticker on it.
Yeah, you better get rid of the evidence.
So we just crushed it. And I chased the cows around. I tried to hide it in the cow's keister, but couldn't catch one. Dude, we got in so much trouble. Apparently, we drove through a bunch of cattle fences. So I didn't know that. I'm a city guy. I don't know this shit. Apparently, on those wire cattle fences, you just push them down.
Yeah.
We were pulling them out of the ground and flipping them over to like drive the truck over. It was bad.
Yeah, so at first he invited you back.
And then he wanted to kill us.
And then he said, never come back.
Then I was lucky to get out of his county.
Gotcha.
Actually,
good thing you had your lawyer with you.
Yeah, because that guy's a big help.
He was a big help.
He's like the lawyer, and he was the person encouraging the most trouble. We tried to jump his little Ford Ranger over a creek.
Did it work?
Debatable.
It's a Ford.
The car survived. The wheel exploded. It's just the wheels.
Called the landlord. Do you have a big tractor?
We're really sorry. It's really bad. Come quick. It's so bad.
So bad. Oh, God. There's blood everywhere.
So, yeah, to answer your question there, some listener, yes, your alcohol level in your bloodstream does help scent control.
Yeah. It disperses it a little better.
How to attract mature bucks to your tiny parcel when baiting and food plots aren't allowed. Topography.
Yeah, don't hunt the property that doesn't have any big bucks on it.
Yeah, you hunt the bucks. Don't hunt a property.
Yeah, that actually is a really good point. You hunt.
Find the deer that you want to kill.
If you are after big bucks and big bucks only, do not just hunt a property. You know, you can't bait them and you can't bring them in. Okay, if the bucks don't come through there,
you have to hunt where they are.
Go where they are.
Look, man, you're not going to shoot a 190-inch deer in, I don't know, like a bad area
pretty much
in Texas.
Almost everywhere in, yeah, exactly.
Right. You have to hunt where the deer are, and then you have to find them and then hunt where they are.
Look, and use a cell camera. Just use cell cameras. If your goal is to hunt and kill big deer, or you're targeting a specific animal, if you really want to do it and you'll pull out all stops, use a cell camera. But then also realize if you don't want to use a cell camera, you're hindering yourself. So don't complain when you don't, because not only does it tell you when they are there, it tells you when they're not there.
For sure. And the other thing is on cell cameras, I feel like some people try to use them for something that they're not, right? A cell camera is just a quicker way to get the information of a regular camera. But it's not it's not telling you, like, I mean, I guess in a way it tells you where you should be hunting and where you should be avoiding, but you can't be like, oh, that deer was here yesterday, I'm going to go right now. If you don't have evidence that he's there still, you're just getting more pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah, you have to add it. You have to add it in. And
it's not cheating.
No, but I mean, name a technology that someone at some point didn't call cheating. I bet back in the day when they were just
vibrators.
No, that's definitely not cheating. Definitely. My wife says it's not cheating.
That's
Funny, she calls the mailman.
Vibe.
Yeah, well, no, she calls her vibrator the mailman. She's like, "Oh, I'm just talking to the
Lester."
mailman." Yeah. But name a piece of technology, seriously, that people haven't called cheating. I mean, we talk about compound bows that back in the 80s, back in the early 80s, people were like, how dare you bring a compound bow and you're supposed to be using a recurve or a longbow during archery season. Back that up to, I mean,
Yes.
when they were only using slings and spears and someone using atlatl, or an actual bow. It's like, wow. No, they weren't thinking that way. They were like, let's kill more.
Caveman's telling his buddies that fire's cheating. Real men eat it raw.
Real men eat it raw. Yeah. Chew it up. You got teeth, don't you?
Chew it up.
Smacking their kids in the head. Chew.
With their bone.
The jawbone of an ass.
We're going to change the name of this podcast to Off the Rails.
Oh, gosh.
It's a rehab facility. That's what we're going to call our rehab facility. Off the Rails.
Off the rails.
Off the rails and off the pole.
Oh, jeez.
Moving along. But yeah, all kidding aside, you have to hunt where they are. And I mean, that's where it's helpful to like drive around and look.
And don't be afraid to give up a property.
Yeah.
If it's not productive, don't go there
Don't
anymore.
waste your time.
Yeah.
Your time is precious. Bring on a blacktail suburban expert. Yeah, man, hit us up. A certain influencer couple charged with a Lacey Act violation. I'm not touching that one. I don't know who you're talking about, sir or ma'am.
You want to see my muscles?
I want to see
Let me flex for you.
12% protein powder.
I thought it was 24%. That's
Well,
what it's labeled
Yeah,
as.
that's what. Well, you don't expect those labels to be honest. It's like when I eat my Bojangles chicken biscuit. I know there's more than 380 calories.
It's like
in
380 calories, and you're like, yeah, per bite.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah.
Guaranteed hangover cure. They just opened a Bobo's down the street.
Man. No, we're not going there. No. What was that last one that you mentioned before you start talking about Bojangles?
Well, this one, I'm going to go to this one. New to bows. What to look for in a good bow shop for dialing in your setup.
Oh.
So that's interesting to me because that is why I learned how to do all my own bow work, right? Because I figured, and this is a generalization and it's wrong. However, the bow shop around here, of which we have one, will not take the time necessary to get the bow the way that I want it as far as performance-wise. Is that saying that every bow shop does that? No, of course not. There are great bow shops out there. There have to be. I've been to some, recently in Tennessee. We were down at one, the Archery Den. Great people. They definitely take the time to do what they need to do, right? The bow shop here was not going to do that.
It's not to your personal standard, right?
I want a race car.
Yeah.
I don't want a Jiffy Lube oil change. I'm looking for like high performance tuning, and I get that that's not for everyone. There's some people that don't want that. Some people don't want to mess with it. I remember actually talking to you in like 2008, 2009, because I was terrified to work on my own bow because I felt like I was going to blow it up in the bow press. And you're like, dude, just get like a cheap, shitty bow and just take it apart
And go play with it.
and put it back together.
Yeah.
And figure out how to do it. And that was brilliant.
Yeah. And, you made a good point. You want a race car, right? Not all of their clients want a race car. They just want a bow that they can go out and they can go shoot a deer and shoot it at 20 or 30 yards and be accurate and be happy with it. That's what they want. And you get to a point where you're splitting hairs on being super precise, super tuning. I personally do love having a super tuned bow. You do too. You absolutely love it. But not everyone needs that. Not everyone wants it. It's a small percentage of people, and there's a bell-shaped curve on their clientele. They're not going to spend the extra hours and hours it takes to super fine-tune a bow when it's not needed for 95% of their clients. So I get that. So how do you find that? Well, those bow shops can do it, and they will do it. But you just have to be willing to speak their language. And what is their language? It's, we'll pay. I'll pay you for an extra couple hours, spend a couple hours, and take this bow to the next level.
And watch them.
Yeah, be there with them and
Yeah.
watch them and learn, so you know. Even if you never want to work on your own bow, watch them. They'll allow you to be in there, and you can learn. So when you do know that something comes out of sync, it's out of tune in some way, you know exactly what it is, and you can come in and say, look, I'm having too much cam rotation, or there's cam lean right here, or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to know if you're ever on like a backcountry hunt, or dude, even if you're like walking through the backyard and you bang your bow into something, you can look at it and be like, that doesn't look right. As opposed to like, well, I don't know, because that's when critters come out that you want to shoot, and the last thing you want is to have a malfunction while you're shooting a critter.
So I've got a malfunction story, and this actually comes up because one of our listeners actually said, "Hey, talk to us about some mishaps." So I've got a mishap, and this is a super tight property. In fact, the very first property that you and I hunted together, I doubled in that oak tree.
Where the incident happened?
Yeah, there was an incident there. But on that property, I was hunting that, not the kill tree that was by the leaking well, but right next to the house in that big oak, that white oak. And I'm dropping rocks out of the tree because there's acorns falling, but they were about at the end. So I'm dropping little pebbles out, so it sounded like rocks. I mean, I'm sounding like acorns.
Did you carry rocks up the tree with you?
I did. I didn't pull them out of the air.
It's pretty brilliant. I don't know if you're like robbing the squirrel nest up there who's got a collection.
No, they were actual rocks. I'm just dropping them, every now and then. And deer it's right next to a golf course.
Yeah.
And it's a super tight property. And there's a few anti-hunter, and actually not even an anti-hunter, but an anti-me hunting there, because that dude was a hunter. He didn't want anyone killing the deer in his neighborhood. And I had a deer that came in, and I zapped it, but I spined it. It dropped a little bit, spined it, and it went into the hedgerow kind of between the yard and the golf course, like next to a green. And there's people hitting golf balls up towards the green. So I'm like, oh man, I got to get down. So I got down and I took my bow over, and it's super thick. There's all these brambles and everything, and I'm climbing through them. And the deer's, I want to get another arrow in it. So I draw my bow back, okay? And at the time, I was using a fixed blade broadhead, and the edge of the broadhead caught on one of the brambles. And as I drew and pulled it back, the arrow came off the string. Exactly. Well, and I'm at half draw. Instead of letting down, I pulled the trigger on the release.
What could go wrong?
Let me think. Well, in a funny way, the arrow, this was so dangerous because the string came down and hit the back of the arrow in front of the fletching and whipped it back towards me, and it actually flipped back and hit me on the side of the head and then flung back behind me. Like the broadhead I almost shot myself.
Holy shit,
okay?
Dude, that could have been like 100 ways to die.
100 ways to die. Like it was so terrible. And my peep sight went just a million yards away. I don't even know. It was like just crushed. So this deer still in trouble, and there's still people right there
flopping around. So now your bow's exploded.
It didn't explode though. Thank God I wasn't like at full draw. So I got another arrow out and got up close to it, and coup de grace, right? I had to go. I couldn't find that arrow. It was like 20 yards away from me, but it hit me right in the side of the head. Thank God the broadhead, 4-blade broadhead, didn't hit me in the face and stick me in the head. Oh, gosh. Oh, another hunting accident. Hunter gets shot with an arrow by himself.
Ring the doorbell. I don't feel good.
Oh, dude, it was just this stupid moment. It was,
Well, it happens so quickly. You get that adrenaline going, and you just
and I'm trying to do it fast, and slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and I was rushing. I was not hurrying without rushing. I was straight to rush.
Oh.
Got to slow down, take your time.
That's dangerous, man.
It was so dangerous. It was really scary, and that's the only time that I've ever dry fired a bow. But what's funny is that I put a new peep in. I said we've got a problem.
Yeah.
So I took it all the way apart. Took the strings off. Took the cables off. I checked my axles. I made sure there was no
damage.
No damage, no bending. There was no issue whatsoever. And that actually forced me then to get to the point where I was more proficient with taking a bow completely apart and then putting it back together. I did put new strings on, new cables. Yeah. I think that was appropriate, but that was a mishap. That
property was like one of my introductions to urban hunting.
Dude, that was a postage stamp. postage stamp property.
Yeah.
Tiny.
And that, I'll never forget, you doubled there one time we went out. And one of those deer like ran through the kids' playground.
Well, they had toys out.
Yeah.
And there was these little dump trucks, like plastic, not Tonka trucks,
that
but
little car that like kids get in and
yeah. And
pedal with their feet and have blood everywhere.
splattered all over it.
Remember, we were filling up like little 20-ounce water bottles and going out and like
They were not beer bottles.
No, definitely not.
No.
They were just metal water bottles.
And then the deer died on the driveway.
Yeah. Across the...
Yeah, it died right across,
over.
but then there was blood all over the driveway. So we had to get the hose and hose off the driveway and clean it off. And then we got to the point where I took a couple of those toys and just threw them in the back of my truck.
And
took them home, cleaned them, and then the next day I actually brought them back and threw them back in the yard. Oh, yeah, hey, how's it going? Oh, your toys just appeared.
And they're so clean.
They smell like Clorox.
The veggie burger's bleeding. All right, yeah, so I guess to answer what to look for in a good bow shop, I look for a bow shop that's willing to take the time to kind of put into your bow, not just like slap it on and get it you know, running somewhat.
And be willing to, because they have hourly rates, be willing to say, hey, I'll pay you for put an extra 2 hours into my bow. It's not that much.
And don't go in there on October 1st and expect that to happen.
Right.
Go in now. Go in
April, May. I mean, go in the
January,
springtime.
Yeah.
Go when they're slow.
Yep. All right. The Player Haters Ball Hunting Edition. Slam everything one you disagree with. Bro, we have sponsors. We can't do that.
We could not have sponsors immediately.
However, if you'd like to buy us a beer,
we'll have a chit chat.
they say loose lips sink ships. Unless you're in what was that movie?
Bukkake.
People in glass houses sink ships. How to get permission? We already covered that. Thermals. I mean, thermals are incredibly important. I mean, they if you think hot air rises, cold air falls. So when the sun's rising, they come uphill. And
let's be clear though, you're talking about the wind direction because of warm air, cold air, not necessarily the equipment, the thermal imaging equipment.
Yes, yes, correct. Yeah, the way the air's falling. And then, I mean, to get into like a 201 of thermals, like, water makes air cooler, therefore will pull air down it. So like air will always flow the way a creek is flowing. Even if you have rising thermals, you'll have a split off there. Now, interestingly enough, one thing that I have noticed is I'm pretty sure that's why deer like to enter in like the depression point of a field.
Oh yeah,
for example,
especially when your thermals, when
evening
you have
time,
cooling.
If you're over a food source or even like a grassy field and there's like a little indentation there, the deer are going to come out there because that air is pooling. There's a thermal pool there, and
that's a smart way to hunt them too. If you know where those little pockets are, where they are going to go in order to scent check, because they don't just. Like there's a wide open field and they just scent check somewhere downwind. No, they pick the best spot to scent check from. Yeah. So if you can actually use that to your advantage to know exactly where they're going to be using topography and that, a lot of times you can really ambush them.
Absolutely. So that's thermals.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it this way. In the morning, early in the morning, the thermals are going to be dropping because it's still nighttime. If you have some topography and there's some hills down, as it warms up, let's say 9-10 o'clock, those bottoms warm up, and when you got a hot bottom, it starts to rise. And then in the evening, again, it starts to cool down. The bottom starts to cool down.
Yeah, they move with the sun. As
exactly.
The sun's rising, thermals are rising. As the sun's setting, thermals are falling.
And also, if you have pretty flat ground, a lot of times, in the morning time, as the ground is warming up, your air and your thermal is just going to go straight up. So you have a better chance of not being winded, as opposed to in the evening, your scent will, as it cools, it may have been above you at 3 o'clock when it was hot out, and then as it cools, that sun, especially if you don't have wind, but that that odor that's up above you like a cloud, like Pigpen, is just going to start falling down and then go downhill also.
Yep. Our buddy Peter said trapping. Peter, you come on here and you talk about trapping. I don't know the first thing about trapping other than trapping something in my zipper.
I do want to trap a deer. Could you imagine? I don't think it's legal, but
it's so illegal. There was a property owner down the street from here that gave me permission to hunt his property, and then when I went out there to like scout around, he was like, "Oh yeah, check these out. I built these snares and I attached them to these trees and I put a bell on the tree." And so when a deer gets snared, it rings the bell, and I walk out here and I shoot him with my crossbow.
Oh, that's wow.
I was like, I will never hunt here, and I'm calling the game warden right now. I was like, sir, that's illegal. He was like, no, it doesn't matter. He said, the deer are so overpopulated here, we just need to kill them all. I'm working on a way that'll drop a net. I'm calling the game warden right now.
You know, that's how they reintroduced turkeys pretty much up and down the eastern seaboard.
Netting them?
They netted them. They would use different types, but they would bait an area. Big flock would come in, and they would either shoot the nets over them, drop nets on them, but it was netting. They would bundle them all up and then take them somewhere else in the state and drop them off, and they've populated again.
Have you seen, similar to that, how they hunt pigs in Texas with tannerite?
Yes. Wow. Hi. That's not hunting. That's shooting and turning them into sausage immediately.
It's insane. I mean, they have a huge hog problem, but they have those giant cages that drop down.
Yeah.
And so the hogs come in, and it drops down, and then they shoot the tannerite, and it kaboomy.
I don't know why you would do that.
I mean,
why?
It's like,
I mean, just shoot them.
Right.
Just shoot them. Why do you have to blow them up in a million pieces? You know, if it was like flies, like my brother Josh loves his bug assault. In fact,
I know.
They sent him one with a laser on it, and he was over at my house Sunday shooting bugs with he's like, watch this. And he's got it sighted in. He was like, here, you can have my old one. And he's like,
thanks, Josh.
Well, and then the other night I killed like 6 flies in my house with it. It's actually kind of fun, but you know, I don't even know where I was going with that, but
clean your house.
Clean my house, right? Take the trash out, a-hole. My wife would leave me on the curb.
Yeah, put your French maid outfit back on.
Oh, gosh. She doesn't like when I bend over.
Yeah, gobble, gobble. Height of stands, shitting in the woods. I think we've covered that extensively.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bring wet wipes, period.
Yeah.
Should be in your kill kit.
In a good leaning tree.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I don't like to lean, no. I like to grab a hold of the tree
and sit down
and squat backwards.
Out.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure that you have cleared all necessary area before you do that.
The next time I do it, I think I'm going to actually get my saddle and put it up around my under my armpits and have my lineman's belt around the tree so I can really lean way, way back so the back of my shoes aren't shitty.
John Eberhardt poops in Ziploc bags.
Does he also do it when he's hunting?
Yeah. Well, it's a diaper that he's pooping in before that. John explained to me that he carries a gallon Ziploc bag in his fanny pack to poop into because he uses a 2-panel saddle, so he can drop a pooper in there. And then he described how he gets the air out of it and then puts it back in his bag.
Keeps it in his bag. Does he double bag it?
Dude, I don't know. I was so grossed out. I checked out.
Oh, then he's talking about vacuum sealing it at that point. I sucked the air right out of it. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Could you imagine leaving that in your pack overnight?
And forgetting about it.
And then putting it in your truck? Like just leaving it in your truck and you get it and you're like, oh, Lord, have mercy. Somebody pooped their pants.
I pooped my pants. I have never
Shout out John Eberhardt.
Yeah, shout out. I mean, it's so cool. The guy that you look up to your entire life is there sitting across from you telling you
Let
about
me
how
tell
he
you
poops
how
in
I
Ziploc.
poop when I'm in a saddle.
Yeah. It's scent control, Taylor. All those fat guys and ponytail wearers don't have any self-esteem. Let's see. How to remain calm when your target buck finally walks out.
Yeah.
Just go through the process.
Yeah, we've talked about that. How we just go through the process and flip the switch into kill mode. Don't look at the antlers anymore.
This guy said sky dumps, code brown. I mean, we've been through that. Politics, not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Strip club experiences. The old jiggle joint.
Jiggle joint. No, I don't go to those.
John
I actually haven't been to one.
Eberhardt is calling me right now.
That is freaking. Yes, he is. Are we streaming this? We're not streaming this.
We're not streaming this. I'm gonna have to call him back, but that is hilarious.
Yeah, that's gonna be a later. That is.
Hey, John, I was just talking about
John,
you pooping in a bag.
My ears were burning.
Would you like to share a strip club experience with us on the phone?
Let's Taco Tuesday, isn't it?
It is taco. I'm gonna crush some tacos after about 9 of these giant beers. Diet and exercise. Speaking of tacos,
well, let me talk about my expertise: diet and exercise.
Clearly, I am a SME on
Bomar Nutrition. I should probably get on one of their programs, huh?
Dude, diet and exercise is on here twice.
Are they trying to make fun of us or trying to make a suggestion?
I think they're like,
there's no one out there that dumb who's actually going, hey, so what do you guys do for your workout routine?
Here's what I do. I sleep until about 7:30. I have a little bit of beer with my Cheerios.
The only exercise that, I would say that I get outside of normal activity is jujitsu. You play golf.
That's a hell of a lot of exercise. Golf is not comparable to jujitsu.
Yeah, but I only do it
You're
like
fighting
2 times
another
a week.
man and like rolling around on the ground with them.
The worst, though, is when I'm fighting women and they beat me unmercifully. Like choke me unconscious. And I'm like, tap, tap.
But I came.
Oh, God. I've never heard him say that. Ever.
No, yeah, the women don't say that, but you say that. Then you start apologizing. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I've never done that before.
It's when you choke me, I get excited.
It's actually, it's moments like these that I remembered that my in-laws listen to this.
Don't. My kids also.
Oh,
Dang it.
where'd they go?
Delete.
Yeah. All right. Diet and exercise. No. Nikki hates some pegging. No. Productivity behind morning hunts and evening hunts throughout the season. All right. That's a good question. So I think there's a difference between productivity behind a hunt and like how it fits within your schedule.
Yeah.
So throughout the majority of the season, I would prefer to hunt the evening.
Yeah, they're more, I feel evening hunts are more productive for me.
For deer sightings and for harvest. However,
especially when it's really hot out.
when it's hot out, yes.
When it's hot out, I would rather hunt an evening all day, every day.
For sure. Anytime outside of like October, I'd say 17th, 20th through November 15th, that month, I prefer mornings hands down.
Because you can also stay the rest of the day. You've got plenty of time to hunt, or you can pull out early.
You know,
What?
which I've never done.
No, I don't even know what that means.
My children are a prime example of that. All around the world, all those little children. Yeah, I mean, I think that morning hunts work better for my schedule. Like it's easier for me to get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30, go.
And it's easier on your family too, because if you leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, everyone in your house is asleep for the next 3 or 4 hours. They're not missing you. You're not being a bad dad. You can roll. Now, if you leave at
it's the other things that make us bad dads.
Yeah. So I need to kind of hedge that a little bit, and I try not to hunt in the evenings as much as I can. But I mean, I do love an evening hunt.
Yeah, especially if you know where a buck is bedding, and you can get in tight to bedding, and wait for that sucker to come out and just smash him. Hard to feel better than that. And when you go in on an evening hunt, you can make sure you're not bumping anything. You can go slow. You're able to see around. Now, that being said, morning hunts. So as far as strict productivity, I think evening hunts take the cake.
Yeah.
But I like to hunt the mornings because it's easier on my schedule. It allows me to go more, and therefore ends up being more productive because I get 5 days in the woods instead of 2.
Exactly. Because how many evenings? I mean, I don't want to burn every single evening when I'm, we've got young families.
Yeah. And I like being home, man.
Yeah.
I like firing up the grill and
That's when they're
hanging
awake.
out.
Yeah.
And like if my daughter's if I'm not around for like Cheerios in the morning, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to start their day. They're going to school. They're going to whatever.
Now, in the winter time, so like post rut, I'll hunt the evenings a lot because I'll just roll out at 1 o'clock, go hunt,
and you're home by 5:30. Yeah,
exactly. And that's better. But so I kind of I ride that wave, and I know you do too because we hunt a lot together. So, but morning hunts way easier up until December-ish. Evenings done.
Yeah, and I've had countless times in the summertime when we hunt on damage permits where you'll shoot a deer at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and you don't get home until 11. You butchered the deer because a lot of times you
have to cut it up.
You have to cut it up. Yeah. Some you don't have time. No one's open at 11 o'clock at night, so you get home at 11, 12 o'clock at night. You still have to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning,
do your responsibilities
and be responsible.
And work,
so,
whatever,
it's just a lot easier to be able to do that in the morning and shift everything. And then you can be a cool person in the evening.
And also there's sometimes that I really choose to hunt the morning. So for example, anytime after October 15th, if we have a ton of rain that's coming through, and let's say the rain blows out at midnight, and I know where those heavy scrape areas are.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I mean,
then you're going to go hit that.
And you'll see every deer in the woods that morning.
But that's a different, I think that's a different scenario. It's like one of those, that's a special occasion when it's like, boom, the rain's going to end, like you said, midnight or anytime between midnight and sunrise. Especially, that's actually my favorite is when it stops raining at
2:30. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an hour or two before, so you can get in, and just as it's getting light, the deer are trying to go freshen up a scrape.
And the woods are silent.
Yeah, you can slide in.
It's so easy. But
slide in like a gentleman, inch by inch.
Said Nick Yates.
Yeah. Forcing.
Pound it home, Daddy. But yeah, and the other thing about that though is if you're buck hunting, you should hunt the evenings because outside of that October 15th, let's call it, through November 15th window, the buck that you want to shoot, more likely than not, is bedded
already
before the sun
light.
Comes up.
So you'd have to be
wasting your time
standing over the bed or in a stand over the bed, downwind, 2 hours before daylight, sitting there and hoping you can get a shot into his bed.
Right. And
then wait all day.
And our buddy Greg hunts deer like that on public land in New Jersey. It works very well for him. However, and if you find the bed and you know where you're going, by all means do that.
Yes.
If that's your objective. I think it's important to note that we're doe hunting primarily. Obviously we love killing big bucks. We've all killed big bucks, whatever, but and we will hunt big bucks and kill them as well. But
specific times of the year.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, we're going out, we're saying, hey, we're going to go shoot a doe this morning, and that's why we don't care that it is early morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I saw that blinking red light over there, and I thought for a second that we were out of memory card space or something.
Speaking of mishaps, we've never done that.
Never. Okay. How to use the saddle as a sex swing.
If you want to damage it, cut a hole in it. That's a good one.
John Eberhardt, Nick Yates. We did get an email at Tethered about some guy being like, hey man, really love the fact that I can use this in my bedroom and in the woods. I'm like, why would you send that to
I can use my lineman's belt to choke me with?
and the guy sent it to the generic work email.
Yeah,
it's hello
info
at Tethered.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Taylor.
He's like, here's some pics of my old lady.
Yeah,
Look
this
at her
thing holds
up.
800 pounds tied to the roof of my car.
Yeah, so I could only get her leg in it.
I had a custom home purchaser ask me to put a sex swing in their house.
Did you?
Good
for you.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was in their living room. The guy had us put
in the living room.
Had us put blocking in, and this was actually funny. This home that I built was for a, let's see if I can say this without giving away the guy's identity, a well-known foreign dignitary from an oil-rich area across water,
across the pond,
where there may or may not have been a conflict for the last 15 years. He refused to talk to me to my face. He would talk to his handler in English, who would then repeat it to me.
Oh.
Just to kind of like set the bar.
Yeah, just to put his thumb on top of your head and say,
in my face.
Put my sex wing
He
in,
was like,
bitch.
He's like,
Duh.
tell this man that I want blocking here so I can hang my, I think he called it a seat. So I can hang my seat. And he's like, the sheik would like you to put blocking here so that he can hang his seat. And I was like, yeah, no problem. How much weight does the seat need to hold? He goes, 500 pounds. I'm like, how many?
Well, him and 3 ladies, I guess.
Or a really healthy goat.
Jeez.
Yeah, but we did. Whatever. So yeah, that was my.
So
sex
yeah, I guess you could.
He could have just bought a saddle.
Hey, but as Taylor always points out, if you are using your lineman's belt to choke yourself, make sure you have a spotter.
Gotta have a spotter. At least FaceTime a spotter.
Yeah.
Don't go solo. That's how accidents happen.
Yep.
RMP guy from Kill Bill. Yeah, that's how he killed himself. He died.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of those.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I'm good with just, crying in the corner. I don't need to hype that up anymore.
Getting slapped. Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop, why are you hitting me? I'm sorry that dinner was late. Stand approach, playing the wind when your access options are limited. Look, approach to your hunting spot. We cannot stress how appropriate or how important it is to approach the tree in a manner that doesn't spook deer.
Yeah, that's number one.
Like 100%.
If you are spooking deer while you're going in or when you're leaving, you're making a mistake.
Do not hunt there.
Do not hunt that spot. Do not hunt that tree. You have to pick another way to do it.
Yes. And even if you have to get permission from other owners or whatever, like one property comes to mind that we hunt. We got permission like 3 doors down. We walk the creek up, pop in the tree.
Just to access, because the other way, we can't access it from the actual property or we bust deer. And then it's a great property. But if you walk in from where you park, you're not going to see anything.
Absolutely. Anaplasmosis, miserable experience. That was
okay. I even asked, what is that?
Dude,
is it sexually transmitted disease?
No.
Is it?
I wish.
Pus
It was an
pockets.
STD.
That's why they call it the.
I knew a stripper named Pus Pocket. She was so
God.
kind.
I knew one named Sandpaper Sally.
God, I remember that joke.
I picked my scab.
So anaplasmosis, we went to a hunt in Kentucky this year, and it was myself, 2 camera guys, and another hunter. We all got sick after the hunt, and
HIV.
Yeah, it was the AIDS. We all were covered in ticks. We were hunting these bean fields, and a couple of us ended up getting anaplasmosis, which is a tick-borne
disease
illness. Which I later found out after having a fever of 102 to 105 for 2 weeks, and all the doctors thought it was COVID, which it was not.
Yeah, because that was when I hosted the teach and train.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like, we talked about it, and all of a sudden I'm like, radio silence from you for a couple of days. I'm like, bro, we're gonna be hosting this teaching train. Are you?
Where you at, dog?
I was like, you literally work for Tethered. Are you gonna be here? And then you're like, oh my God,
I'm
dying.
I was so dying.
Yeah,
and we thought it was COVID, and we have a newborn baby, so I'm like quarantined to the basement. My wife's telling me that I'm like not a man because I'm not sucking it up because it's just a cold. Although, mind you, I felt like I had been beaten from head to toe.
And it wasn't COVID, but then they found out that it was tick AIDS.
It was tick AIDS. I had, from the lab that did my blood work, the highest amount of Rocky Mountain spotted fever that they had ever seen in blood work.
Oh, boy.
This is a central lab. This isn't like Rixie's pharmacy down the street.
You had like 45 ticks and just pumping AIDS into
Yeah,
you.
it's like leeches.
Oh, that sucks. At least you didn't get that one from the Lone Star tick that makes you allergic to red meat.
Yeah,
Allergic to red meat.
I would choke myself out permanently.
Yeah, no spotter.
No, on purpose.
With purpose.
With purpose. How to pick the perfect tree, I think we did that. How to follow a blood trail, we definitely did that.
Mm-hmm.
How to approach people, ask them to hunt their property, we did. This is a good one. Concealment versus height in the tree. If you don't have good cover, do you climb higher or find a new tree? Look, man, find concealment. Like, find the tree. Like, find the area that you want to be in. And then, okay, here's my hierarchy for this. You find the area that you want to be in. But then you find the tree. And now that tree is determined by a lot of the stuff we're talking about. Your access. Mm-hmm. Where are the deer going to be? You don't want to walk across the deer trail to find the tree. You know, which way's the wind? Where are the thermals doing? You know, all of this.
Make sure you're going way out of the way if you have to.
Yes, but
simple is better, but go out of the way if you have to.
And then, you know, I prefer concealment over height because I think that height is overhyped in our industry. I think the height that you're hunting it contributes to more lost deer than anybody else.
If you're
really
too high.
Yes,
I like to think about it this way. I would rather pick a tree that's larger to hide my fat belly than one that gets me to 30 feet.
Absolutely.
If I can go in and find a tree that's just, you know, if I can, you know, get my arms around it, if I can barely get my arms around it, you can hide behind it.
Right.
And use that to your advantage. Hide behind your tree. Because a lot of these trees, especially in suburban areas where everything was like clear cut, you know, and it's just telephone poles. They're just no branches for 50 or 60 feet. It's wide open. So find the bigger tree, get behind it. Hug it like a squirrel.
Could not agree more. So, concealment over height.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, concealment is more important than height.
Not saying you can hunt 8 feet off the ground like Nick Yates does, though.
Well, I mean, if you have tons of cover, you know, and the wind is appropriate, you know, yeah.
And there are people out there, I mean, I've killed tons of deer out of the cedar trees like 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Like one stick high. Totally fine. Broadhead arrow setups. We've gone over that.
Talked about that a bunch, yeah.
Here's a good one. How much attention do you pay to scent control in urban archery?
Okay. Now, I've run the gamut. I've gone from insane, crazy. I bathe and everything before I hunt. I walk outside with different shoes on, change in. I put plastic in my truck. I mean, like it was
Dexter.
Like it was, yeah, totally crazy. Yeah. I mean, went just overboard. I added ozonics with that. I've done everything. I've also gotten to the point where I'm like, man, there's a lot of effort here that's involved, and there's some benefit to that. You're never going to completely fool the deer's nose. You're just not going to. Do all those things help? Yes, they absolutely do. And you can kill deer downwind of you in bow range if you have excellent, superb scent control. I personally, now at this point, don't care at all. I play the wind and I play thermals and I use the concealment game. And that's whether it's an urban hunt or anywhere else. I play that game. And if I can't win at that game, I'm okay with losing.
Yeah. That's part of the hunt.
I'm okay with giving it up and saying, you know what, the deer beat me today, and some people are not okay with that. But you know, we kind of hit on it a little bit earlier. Where's the point where you take technology too far? You know, that's a personal question. Do you laser beam, laser guided missiles from home, on a remote gun down in Texas? Like, is that hunting? I don't know. I mean, that's up to you. All the way down to an atlatl and a spear or whatever. So you have to choose what your challenges are. Me personally, I don't go and like fuel up my truck and spill gas all over my clothes and things like that.
Yeah, you're conscious of it.
Yeah, I'm conscious of it, but
you're also wearing your camo.
And I do put my I wash my camo clothes separately from my household stuff, and a lot of times I'll run a load of towels with scent killing detergent, and then I wash my camo, or I hand wash it, and then I air dry it all, and that's about it. And but I'll rewear camo multiple times before I wash it, so I'm not huge on it. I pee out of a tree. I'll pee right out of a tree.
I've had deer come running in to smell my urine, though.
Yeah, well, it smells like the golden elixir, the milk of the gods.
That with asparagus and coffee.
Oh.
I couldn't agree more, though, with your scent control stuff. My thought process on that is I will never get it to where it's perfectly scent free.
Mm-hmm.
There are always like weak links in the setup.
Like your breath.
Yeah.
Your breath be humming, yo.
Stankin' dog.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my breath stinks. I have pterodactyl breath. I breathe fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Game of Thrones dragon.
Meraxes.
Khaleesi.
Oh, God.
She's a babe. Yeah, and so like I went down the rabbit hole of, everything in an airtight tote, ozone treatments for that stuff. I had those giant like Ziploc moving bags that you could suck all the air out of. I did that. It's easier to play the wind where in thermals, right? Where like, and not just, well, I'm going to put the wind right in my face and I'm going to sit here because you're not going to see anything.
Mm-hmm.
I love to hunt a just off wind
mm-hmm.
where an animal thinks that they're able to smell everything here, but they can't
mm-hmm.
because the thermals or whatever are pulling
whatever it is. Maybe there's an obstacle and you are where the obstacle is, so
Correct.
They can't get downwind of you, and they have to go upwind of you.
And just like, the best advice I can give anybody is get a bunch of milkweed and just drop milkweed from the tree, watch what it does, and just ask yourself, like, why is it doing that? What's going on here? What's
mm-hmm.
contributing to this doing what it is?
Yeah. If you can, and if it's safe, because this can be a fire hazard, but if you can let off smoke, mm-hmm. that is another excellent way. And obviously you're not going to do that while you're hunting, right? But when you're in a spot that it's yours, you can control it, and you're not going to burn the forest down.
Well, that type of smoke is legal in Virginia now.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that.
Get some Bob Marley playing.
Hey, man.
Yeah, no, the smoke helps, and watch how it rolls with topography.
And watch what happens when it hits an obstacle. Watch what happens when you've got a predominant wind that hits a clear cut or hits a yard, because you can have the wind where you think it's right in your face and you're in the yard or in a clear cut or in a field.
Yeah, but it goes like this.
Yeah, or it comes over the trees and then goes right back to the trees and then it comes to you. You think, I've got the wind in my face. Yeah, but as soon as that deer steps out upwind of you, it smells you.
Yep.
So you need to know what happens there. And milkweed, anything that you can put a visual with the wind, it's gonna benefit you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I went down that rabbit hole. I like ozone.
Mm-hmm.
I love running an ozonics in the tree. Sometimes I get a little lazy about it. Like when my camera bag is full, I got my camera gear, my arm,
it's
all
so
this
much
crap.
Yeah.
I'm like,
just one more
it's
thing.
It's the first thing I take out.
Mm-hmm.
Does it work? Yes. Now, I do think there's an interesting conversation to have where you and I hunt so much and we're shooting deer on these properties so often. And I think that ozone, I know it's a naturally occurring scent or product in the woods, right? Like
just in nature in general, right?
However, I wonder if the ozone that's being generated by an ozonics has a different odor to it, to where
I can smell it.
Well, yeah, but and I've never smelled ozone. Like maybe I've walked outside after a thunderstorm and I'm like, it smells like fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we're associating with ozone. But I wonder if the ozonics machine creates a type of ozone that now the deer, if they smell enough, will associate with a human.
Well, any association, if they're able to detect an odor.
Yeah, I'm just curious if the ozone...
Possible.
Yeah, but, nose jammer, I thought nose jammer was a crock of BS. I've used it. It works.
You use it in your bathroom.
I do.
Absolutely. It smells good too.
Really, shout out to the ATA show.
Yeah,
'cause
right.
They hand that stuff out. But yeah, I mean the nose jammer. It smells like sugar cookies.
And I can
which
tell that you used
I
it
like.
because I look in the toilet. I'm like, jeez.
Wow, I don't
Oh
even
my
smell it.
Look at the crime scene.
I'm
I'm gonna spray
salivating.
some of that down in
Is
there.
that a taco?
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, that stuff is a Band-Aid,
Mhm.
right?
Again, all these little things that help. It depends on how far you want to go. It depends on which battles you want to fight. Do you want to go down the road
Of sucking poop odor out of a Ziploc bag.
and putting that in your backpack to make sure that the deer can't smell anything? Or, do you go and just say, look, I don't care. I'm just going to fight it and fight the wind and just play and just play the game.
And I've had plenty of successful hunts, obviously.
I've been winded many, many times.
Absolutely. And it sucks. And every time I do, I'm like, God, I should have brought that fucking exotics.
Yeah, but all right, here's a question that I have for this podcast. When a doe blows at you, did she just sign her death warrant?
100%. I shot a doe here in her doe equivalent to an Adam's apple because she blew at me last year. I had instant regret as soon as I let the arrow fly. I thought, oh my God, what are you doing? You're on a postage stamp. You just smoked her. And I watched her run off with her head parallel to the ground, flopping around, almost took her head completely off. Very lethal shot.
Don't recommend that.
Do not recommend it at all. But she stomped her foot. She saw me. I was playing on my phone. I got completely busted. I did not expect deer to be out that early. I'm like playing on my phone.
Boom. There she is.
There she is. You. And she sees me. And I grab my bow. And she's doing that stomp thing. And I came to full draw. And I said, don't you do it. Do not. I had this conversation out loud. Do not do it.
And then.
Yeah. And she did one and a stomp. And I put it in her. And she ran off with my Luminoc glowing. My Luminoc was higher than her head.
Oh, geez.
When she was running off, she looked like a headless horseman.
Yeah.
It was almost cut completely off. But at the time, I didn't know that. I thought that I'm like, oh my God, I should not have done that. She piled up 20 yards away.
Like a Muzzy 3-blade. I used to rock the Muzzy 3-blade, the old school 100 grain, and I mean, it killed zillions and zillions of animals. People have killed with that broadhead. It doesn't seem like it would be one that just zips through animals and they don't feel it. But on two different animals, I shot them and heart shot them. And two does, and both of them.
The original Muzzy or the MX?
The original Muzzy.
Awesome.
The original Muzzy. And I shot them, both heart shots, and both of these deer ran 10 to 20 yards, turned and started stomping at me. And I'm like, did I miss?
Yeah.
And then they try to blow, and then it's game over, and they just fall down right there. And it's like they didn't know they were hit.
Yeah.
But, I've had them run 75 yards and stop and look around and not know they were hit. But that was like 10 yards. And then they start stomping and then they try to blow. And I'm like, oh, now my medicine is working.
Yeah.
It's like the black mamba struck.
My elixir. I shot a buck like that a couple years ago. Very ruddy. It was like mid-November, early November.
Didn't know he was hit.
Didn't know he was hit. Trotted up the hill, turned back, looked back. And I'm like, what happened? And he looked around, tail flick, done.
I shot one, and this was one of the smallest properties I've ever hunted in my life. And it was the tiniest property in this backyard. And I was throwing everything out there. It was November 23rd, a couple years ago. I think that was the date. And I'm throwing grunts out and using the can and everything because there was deer. The can. And it was, look, I saw a big, really big buck that didn't have any points. It was just they were all broken off, and he was just the stud, but he wouldn't come onto the property. And then all of a sudden, I hear a snort wheeze behind me and under me, and I look down, and these two bucks are facing off right under me. And both of them looked big. So I chose the biggest one, and I heart shot him. And his ears were laid back. He was all bristled up. And when I shot...
It's that big Pope and Young buck you shot a couple years ago, isn't it?
It's a PNY, yeah.
I have to pee really bad. So.
I do too.
Can we time out?
I'm going to finish this story, though, and you're going to piss your pants.
I'm going to listen while you're telling me.
So, hey, have fun.
Keep going. I'm listening. I can hear it through the wall.
I know you actually can, but yeah, but it's weird because I can't really hear you anymore. whispering in my ears. So I shot this buck, and he must have thought that the other buck hit him or damaged him or something, because he instantly threw his antlers down and just charged right at the other buck. And the other buck took off, and he got right to the edge of the yard and stood there like, yeah, now what's up? Like, what are you going to do? Can't mess with me. And then he just falls over and dies right there in the yard. It was so cool because he didn't even know that he was hit. And I know a lot of people have seen that in the woods, but it's always just tricky for me in my mind to see, is that deer even hit? I mean, I could have sworn I saw the arrow go right behind the shoulder, right in the vitals, but it didn't just take off out of there like 100 miles an hour. It just acted like it wasn't even hit. But it's always satisfying when they just pile up right there, fall right over dead.
All right, let's see. This is your brother. Mishaps. 2 exclamation points. If you're new to traditional bows, do not practice indoors. Your walls will suffer.
And you will suffer because your wife's wrath.
I've shot my wall back here.
Oh, yeah. Well, didn't you have a dude over?
With a 450 foot per second crossbow who was like, hey, man, I just want to shoot this.
I just want to shoot this
from about 3 feet through your chronograph.
I just want to see how fast it is.
I just want to know where to turn my thingy. He shot 8 inches above my target. Smoked my wall. I'm like waiting for water to spring out of that one. He smoked the wall. He was like, oh, geez. I'm like, yeah, oh, geez.
I got to sight that in.
I think I just broke that bolt.
Yeah, do you think?
It's
a cinder block
it's
wall.
1,000 pieces on the ground. And by the way, there's a hole in my fucking wall.
Now
man.
I've got a crack in my foundation. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Bro. Can't wait to resell. Don't worry, I'll pad a wall out. We'll have to delete that so there's no evidence when I sell my house.
Just sell it as is. It's a good market right now.
It is a good market. I've been trying to tell my wife, like, let's get
I know.
different house.
I know. I've been trying to tell my wife that. I'm like, look. She's like, well, we're not going to buy right away. I said, let's buy a vacation home.
Boom.
And then we rent wherever we want to rent. I want to go West Virginia mountains, Eastern Panhandle.
Okay.
I want like 500 acres.
Here's what we need to do. We need to buy 1,000 to like 1,200 acres. Mm-hmm. We'll create an entity. Mm-hmm. We'll put 2 little home sites on it. Mm-hmm. And we'll own all the land in between.
Hey, and then we can put a line. It'll be the demilitarized zone in the middle, and then we can have wars.
Everybody in the middle is fair game.
No, that'll be the deer sanctuary. We can't kill anything in between.
Dude, that would be epic.
I'll totally poach.
You have a big family.
I'll totally poach on the demilitarized zone.
You come try and poach in the DMZ. I'm gonna be like North Korea.
I'll get stuck in one of your snares. Shout out Peter Dalton. Shout out Peter Dalton.
Yeah. That guy was cool, man.
Dude, he's
so cool.
He came over Sunday night, was like just super cool. His wife and his daughter came over. Dude, that guy, I can't stress enough how nice it is. And when we went hunting, even Greg, I said, man, it was so cool of him. I said he didn't even bring a gun, and he didn't hunt with us. And Greg said, he didn't bring a gun to shoot? I said, no. He was allowing us to hunt his favorite property. His property. His property. It was so cool.
And then I poached the property. No, just kidding, Peter. Didn't really.
We're going up there tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding.
Landowner loves me. Most underrated gadgets.
Underrated.
I think we need to. So I think we need to revisit that. I could do a full podcast.
A full podcast on gadgets and tools and things like that. And spoiler alert. We use them. We use those underrated.
Yeah.
Anything that we use it because it works. We don't use it because it's fun. Like
alcohol.
I try to oversimplify so much.
That's because I'm dumb. I have to oversimplify.
Yeah. Yes.
Otherwise, I don't get it. All right, I think that's basically it. Some of those was like, what's in your hunting pack? We already did that one. Mm-hmm. Clearly, diet and exercise is our number one.
Yeah, so many people they're just poking fun. They're like, obviously you have a poor diet because think about all of the bowel problems you have.
I just like that like I'm the duff.
I don't.
Because you're skinnier than I am. You know, when I was skinny on the airplane, it's all relative. But you know, I saw two guys on my last flight back from Nashville yesterday. One guy was like 400 pounds. The other guy was like 375. And I'm like, I know why you guys are friends.
Yeah.
He's the Duff. I'm the Duff.
Yeah, but you know. Yeah.
Thank you for being kind.
Yeah. I like you, Betty. It's Danny, sir. Whatever.
Whatever. Do you do drugs, Danny?
Every day. Good. You know, my kids have never seen Caddyshack, but if I say, "Do you do drugs, Danny?" They'll say every day.
So, out of all those topics, which one do you think is the most important?
Diet and exercise.
Clearly. My wife asked me last night. Somehow, I jokingly told her. She was like, we put the kids down. She said, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to go for a run. She's like, really? No. We're going to watch Tucker Carlson yell at the TV.
And she's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Because she was a competitive runner.
Yeah.
She still competes.
Yeah. With me.
Yeah.
So easy to win because I'm her Duff. I would love nothing more than to have an inkling of motivation to where I could beat her in like a half marathon.
You mean in anything?
Never gonna happen. Yeah,
No.
anything.
No, you're not going to win. It's
I
like,
know. Look
it's
at
like
me.
It's like trying to have an argument with her, or trying to have an argument with my wife.
She's
like,
terrifying.
No, I'm going to lose, and I think I got her.
Yeah,
I got her.
And then you get there, and you're like,
no. That's when the game starts. When my strategy ends, that's when hers begins.
Oh my God, my wife was yelling at me the other day, and I just started laughing, and it was game over.
Mm-hmm.
I lost immediately.
No,
I think through good thoughts, like in the car. I'm like, yeah,
this is what I'm going to say.
And then I cower like a little chihuahua.
No, see, I figured out what it is. It's not cowering. It's that they maneuver intellectually around you and make your thoughts stupid.
That's because I'm stupid.
Yes. It's like, yeah, but... And she's like, what? Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, what?
Go ahead and say it.
I thought through this.
Because I literally have an answer for that, and I will
Well,
win.
you know what, Emily? What's it like beating up on a slow guy? Do you enjoy beating Sling Blade in an argument? Because that's what you're doing.
And she looks at you and goes, I like them French fried potatoes.
I'm like Chunk from Goonies. And,
hey, you guys. Oh, one of my favorite all-time movies.
Yeah. And
I want a sack of jewels, by the way.
I have a sack of jewels. The ticks love them.
Yeah, you pulled a tick off of your bowels the other day, didn't you?
My bow sack, yeah. And my wife was like, well, how'd it get there? What do you think?
I was just plopping my balls in the bush.
Greg had it on his mustache.
And we were snuggling because it was cold this morning.
The tent was cold and we needed some steam. How do you think it got there?
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. Did you ever do that like in the wrestling team?
What?
The gobble, gobble.
No.
Oh, that was huge on our wrestling team. You'd pull up alongside somebody else's car and you would moon them, but you would let the turkey hang.
And gobble,
and
gobble.
Go, gobble, 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 gobble.
No, I didn't say gobble, gobble. You
just slapped it around.
Yeah, just it was a silent. Yeah.
For me, they're like, why is he just showing us his butt?
Oh my. You know, I was in middle school. I was coming
out. Congratulations, man. This is an accepting environment.
Thank you. I love your closet. Can I step out?
Have you ever seen the Nick Swartzen gay robot stuff?
No.
Absolutely hilarious. Gay robot is like a bouncer at a bar.
This is on YouTube?
Yeah.
Let's put it in the description.
It was like a Comedy Central thing.
Please do.
And who was the guy in Cruel Intentions?
Come on, bro.
Do you remember his name?
Yeah. No. I don't know how
you were about to say his name.
No, I wasn't.
There's some dude. Idea. He comes up and he's like, "Oh, it says here that your eyes are blue, but they're not. They're the sun setting on a sunlit, like a sunlit lake." It's hilarious because it's a big gay robot. I highly recommend it.
I will 100% listen to
Our
it.
frat house loved gay robot.
There was a guy.
So did Nick Yates.
I'm sure. Shocker, Mr. Pegs, the Pegasus.
My old peg leg.
Oh God, Nick, are you a pirate? Arr!
Are you coming over again?
Give me the wooden peg.
The splinters make me happy.
So I was in a Baptist middle school, and we were coming back from
What could go wrong?
Yeah, right. A soccer game, and it was dark out, just getting dark, and this dude pulls up to the bus, and he's like paralleling the bus and won't pass and won't slow down. He keeps flipping his light on and off. So we all, smarties, look out the window, and he was not clothed, and showing the Baptist school bus full of kids his goods and waving it around and honking his horn.
Was it Flavor Flav?
No,
With Crack Mountain.
sitting in the passenger seat. I'll never forget going, oh my God, like we were laughing. We thought it was funny. I didn't actually think that, oh, that's a creepy pervert. I just thought, oh my God, look at that idiot, you know? So I went home and told my
With
parents.
free candy.
Yeah, free candy. He was like, free candy in the van.
He was naked, Mom, but he had Kit Kats.
Yeah. I only had to stop right there. Don't tell me the rest. And I told my parents, dude, they were furious because they took the perspective of, hey, this is some pervert showing his wang to little kids or something. And then now as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, that bus driver totally should have ran that mother off the road. Totally should have done it. Later on, I find out who it was.
Uncle Bob. You're out again.
Oh, man, I don't know if I should tell this. No, I probably shouldn't tell that story. Buy me a beer and I'll tell the story.
I bought you two.
Same school. Same school.
Oh, you're going there.
Yeah. The wrestling coach there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he got busted. He was accused.
Greco-Roman wrestling.
Well, I'll keep this short. He was accused, and shocker, the accusee was a troubled youth. So he had character flaws. So everyone was like, we'll side with the coach. Bad idea. Well, when the coach did come back, well, he did it again. But this time, he allegedly, he told one of the wrestlers that, hey, there's a girl at the school. This is high school. Girl at the school who likes you. She wants to meet you at my house.
And her name is Coach John.
You sit in this chair blindfolded. This is no joke. You sit in this chair blindfolded, and she'll come in and kiss you. Well, as she's kissing him, he peeks under the blindfold, and it's Mr. Coach. I don't know if he let Coach finish or not, but he at least, Coach ended up going to jail.
As he should have.
But
maybe
it's crazy.
He likes it there. It's his environment.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to get into even more because there's other stuff later on. But, and it would just be way too revealing. But, yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is that guy, the kid that it happened to.
Liked it.
No, his brother ended up transferring out of the school. The younger brother did, shocker, right? Transferred out of the school and went to DeMatha, where I went, and he would talk about his brother, being like, "Oh yeah, my brother, gay." It was totally like just joning on his brother.
Dude,
like,
your brother got raped by the
he totally got raped, and he's like, "Yeah, but." Gay. I was like, oh my God, that is so savage to be able to do that. I mean, I feel terrible for that guy, for the kid that it happened to. But that coach, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
And they let him out of jail. What are you letting that guy out of jail for?
Dude, I feel like there should be like an execution wall for this.
Yes.
Like, that's the do not pass go. You get shot in the head.
It's like everybody's like
bludgeoned to death with dildos.
It's like everybody's up in arms about police brutality. That's one exception that I say let's have
Let them fry.
Let's include police brutality. If you get convicted of that, the cops they lick their saps and just start whooping on your ass.
1815 Britain.
Yeah, but yeah, that was.
I totally agree though. I mean, I'm all for like like public execution of those guys. Like just no
Saudi
issue.
Arabia.
Yeah, let's stone them. I'll throw some stones. Little pea gravel. You like that?
I can't pick up big rocks. They're too heavy.
Does that feel good for you? Because it's hurting me. Well, this is great.
Oh, boy. Man, we
hopefully this was educational to our listeners. If you're still there, thank you.
Yeah, and if a coach tells you to sit down in a chair because someone's going to service you and put a blindfold on, it's not going to be someone. It's going to be the coach.
Here's the problem with the barrel. Eventually, it's your turn to be in the barrel. Learned that the hard way at turkey camp.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
Shout out Adrian.
Shout out Adrian. Those big old lips and that curly little mustache. He called me too. He must have felt his ears burning. He knew his secret was out.
Oh, man.
How funny is that John Eberhardt calls right after we're talking about his bag poop.
His poo-poo bag.
His poo-poo bag. He should create a backpack that carries poo-poo bag in it. I ordered a new backpack this morning.
Oh,
to test. Yeah. We'll see.
Like you need another one.
I do.
Is it one of the Everly stocks?
No,
is that what you were looking at?
It's a Kafaru.
Really? Which one did you get?
And I paid full retail price for this.
Good for you, buddy. Does it have a frame?
Hoorah.
Or did you just get the bag?
No, I got I think it's a tail gunner.
Oh, I got that tail gunner.
A tail gunner.
Speaking of coaches.
Tail gunner. Yeah, it's actually, it's not the tail gunner. It's, it was named after a tank. It was like the Hellcat, I think is what it was.
I have no idea.
Hell something.
Hellfire.
Hellfire. Damnation. Heard that before. That's what's waiting for me, allegedly.
Yeah, as soon as I get home.
Yeah, well, let's let you get home. Thank you guys for watching, listening, being there for us. You guys are our support group. You're our outlet.
Yeah, this is what we need. I did hear that the other day. It's like women go to therapy, men start podcasts.
That's called narcissism. It's
how
the
appropriate.
fact that people think that they want to listen to you. You know, recently
it's even worse when you just want to listen to yourself.
I enjoy listening to myself. It's the headphones.
Dude, I really do like that. I'm going to tell my wife, I'm like, here, put the headphones on.
And then talk to me. Actually,
no, I'm going to talk to her.
Talk to
me. let me just talk to myself.
You just lay there. I'll talk to me. Let me check my bass levels. I had a blast at our most recent teach and train. We just had one in Nashville.
Mm-hmm. The
number of people that came up to me and told me how much they enjoy our podcast was really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I get messages all the time, and they're asking us, hey, cover this, or when's the next one coming out? I mean, like, we're pumping them out like at least once a week or so, and there's like, oh, we want the next one, and I'm like, hey,
I'm trying.
I always say that.
It's never happened before.
I did my best.
I'm so sorry.
I can only do it once a week.
So
I need build up for the next week.
No, I mean it's awesome. It's humbling.
It's cool.
It's fun.
No, we totally appreciate it. And we appreciate the feedback from all you guys. I mean, when you message us, when you hit us up,
especially the diet and exercise comments.
Yeah, and I'll take it. I know.
I get it.
I know. I can't really touch my toes.
I'm seeing my toes.
I use Velcro because I can't actually tie my shoes. Shout out Crispy.
Yeah, Crispy. Where are the Velcro shoes?
I need Velcro. I need
Velcro
slip-ons.
Hunting boots. Boom. You're welcome, America.
That's the whole reason I wear rubber boots, just because I can slip them on when I'm all fat and can't reach down to my laces.
Easier.
Oh yeah.
That thought has crossed my mind before. Where I'm like, I can just step into those.
You know you're really fat though. At the end of the day, when you go, man, how am I going to get these slip-on shoes off? when you do this, when you go. Get all the air out so you can bend over.
I texted my wife when we were in Nashville. We went out to lunch. Not my wife and I. Went out to lunch with Greg. We saw Kristen Cavallari.
Oh, yeah?
In the flesh. My wife is a big fan of her reality TV program.
Mm-hmm.
I just think she's a babe. Which she is. She's a babe.
Mm-hmm.
So I text my wife. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saw Kristen Cavallari in public. My wife's response, did you suck in? I
Yeah.
almost passed out. It's like the scene in Caddyshack where the chick walks by all the cart boys.
You sucked in and still looked a little pudgy.
Yeah, I was still fat.
I know. When I suck in, that's the problem. When I suck in, it's like, oh. You know, when I was a kid, I used to be able to suck in and you could, like, see my backbone.
Yeah, it looked like Sean Connery.
Shout out necrophilia.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for following along during our therapy sessions. And
Oh, boy.
shoot us your Venmo and we'll pay you guys all for your time.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Later.